Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode is the top 5 best sleeper cornerbacks of the 2018 NFL Draft Class based on analytics. And the analytics we're going to be using and talking about is market share production data, age data, and athleticism data, specifically speed score data. And starting with market share data, just to give a brief idea about it, you simply take an individual defensive statistic and you divide it by the team total statistic. So, for example, if a cornerback had 15 pass deflections on a team that had 150 pass deflections, and that cornerback had 10% pass deflection market share production. But you essentially take that percentage and you compare it to every single cornerback since the 1989 NFL Draft Class, and then you give them a score based on comparing them to all their peers in that time span, and boom, you have a way to see the sort of area in which Pro Bowlers performed, All-Pro cornerbacks performed, etc., when it comes to their production, and also bottom end and top end when it comes to that production. We're also looking at the age score. The age score just kind of speaks to potential upside. If a cornerback is very young and very productive, the chances of them becoming an All-Pro, Pro Bowl cornerback are a lot higher when they're younger versus being older. And we're going to be looking at the speed score, which is also fairly important when it comes to just overall upside as well. As much as people hate the speed score and talk about Justin Gilbert and all this kind of stuff, it's still good. The best cornerbacks run fast. That's just something that keeps coming up. It's a trend for a reason, and although there are some outliers to that extent, there's not many of them. There's only one. So at least so far in my data, Richard Sherman is the only guy who didn't hit the All-Pro or even Pro Bowl speed score and ended up being a multiple All-Pro player. So but that's it. There's only one. So, and he did have some things to point to in terms of his production and his physical traits, but nothing in his profile said this guy is definitely going to be an All-Pro player. And that doesn't mean that data is flawed. It just means that, hey, stuff happens. The next time that there's a really tall cornerback who is productive from Stanford, we'll look out for that guy and we'll make a case for that guy. But we're not going to make a case for a player based on only one player being successful. So, and that is how we're going to do this list. That's how we're going to get to, that's how we're going to grade these cornerbacks. And now let's get to the list at number 5. At number 5, we have Jamar Summers, cornerback out of Connecticut. When it comes to height and weight, he's 6 foot, 185 pounds with a 4.44 40-yard dash. Basis production, he put up a 73.60 solo tackle market share score and an 82 pass deflection market share score. His solo tackle market share score is very impressive. It hits at least the Pro Bowl threshold when it comes to that particular metric, and his pass deflection market share hits, All-Pro threshold as well. But his speed score is only 55.44 out of 100, which is why he's more of a sleeper than anything else. But he is someone that I definitely think you should keep track of. In terms of as a cornerback, he could go to the combine and improve on these numbers, so there's lots of positives here. Keep track of them. Decent overall production, but not necessarily amazing. But that is why he's number 5 on this list. At number 4, we have DJ Reed, cornerback out of Kansas State. Based on height and weight, he's 5'9", 188 pounds with a 4.51 40-yard dash. Based on his production, he put up a 95.62 solo tackle market share score, 99.16 pass deflection market share score, and those are all amazing marks, actually. Again, All-Pro solo tackle and pass deflection market share production. But his speed score is only 57.88 out of 100, which doesn't quite hit Pro Bowl or All-Pro thresholds when it comes to that particular metric. But there are enough positives here, has 90+ percentile solo tackle market share and pass deflection production, on top of having at least a starter speed score. So there's enough here to say that he's someone that you definitely should be more familiar with based on his production, based on his speed score. And I'll be very excited to see where he takes his game next season based on these particular data points. At number 3, we have Ryan Pulley, a cornerback out of Arkansas. Based on height and weight, he's 5'11", 198 pounds with a 4.52 40-yard dash. Based on his production, he put up a 63.43 solo tackle market share score, a 76.40 pass deflection market share score, and all those marks hit at least the Pro Bowl sort of area when it comes to solo tackle and pass deflection market share production. And his speed score is 65.50 out of 100, which hits at least Pro Bowl threshold as well. So this is a guy from, Ryan Pulley is a player that has the potential to be a Pro Bowl cornerback based on his production and based on his speed. And he can also improve his production as well this year. So he's a name to watch. He's a name to be familiar with. I'll be very excited to see how he develops this year, what happens this year, all that other kind of stuff. But the bottom line is he has lots of positives in his profile, and you should be keeping track of him, and that's why he's number 3 on this list. At number 2, we have DeJuan Hunt, cornerback out of Purdue. When it comes to height and weight, he's 5'9", 188 pounds with a 4.4, 840-yard dash. Based on his production, he put up a 31.90 solo tackle market share score, a 91.51 pass deflection market share score. And his solo tackle market share score, again, is not amazing. It doesn't hit all Pro Bowl thresholds that much, except for the outlier sort of guys in terms of like the bottom end threshold in terms of that data point. But his pass deflection market share is amazing. It's very, very good when it comes to his pass deflection market share production. He can always improve his solo tackle market share production as well. And the main reason he's number 2 on this list is because he has a 67.65 speed score. So doesn't have amazing solo tackle market share, but has a very good pass deflection market share and also has a very, very high speed score. So there's lots of positives to him. I'll be very excited to see how he develops this year as well, and that is why he's number 2 on this list. And at number 1, we have MJ Stewart, cornerback out of North Carolina. Based on height and weight, he's 5'11", 200 pounds with a 4.54 40-yard dash. Based on his production, he has a 76.59 solo tackle market share score, a 87.13 pass deflection market share score, which all those marks hit the thresholds they need to hit. It hits the All-Pro threshold when it comes to his solo tackle market share, and it hits the All-Pro threshold when it comes to his pass deflection market share score, which is very impressive. And his speed score is 63.25 out of 100, which is also a Pro Bowl threshold as well when it comes to his speed score. So there are a ton of positives with MJ Stewart. Great production, decent speed score for his size. I'm very pumped to see how he develops this year. He could end up being a guy who sneaks into the top 5 corners when it's all said and done because of his production and because of his speed score, if that ends up being true. And we'll just have to see what happens at the Combine and, of course, what happens this year. But for now, he is the number 1 sleeper cornerback in the 2018 class based on analytics, and I highly recommend you keep track of him and keep track of his name as the process goes on in 2018. This concludes the top 5 sleeper cornerbacks of the 2018 NFL Draft Class based on analytics. My name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That helps me out tremendously. Share this video as well with friends and family and anybody else that you know. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.